G'day everyone. Finally the pie's off the bench. Yes, and I can start on something new. Yay! Yeah, this one's actually been on the cards for a while, this TV. It's you're actually looking at quite a rare set. I don't think many of these probably exist now. The brand Lotus was made by a small-time manufacturer going by the name of Green and Hall. They had two plants, one in Auckland and one down here in Wellington. Not too sure on the production amount and how many models there were. I know there's this model here. There was another model I've seen that looks similar, and there's also a 10-inch one, quite a small little compact one, which I've actually got that model actually up in the garage, which I'll show you at some later stage. But for now I thought I'd focus on getting this one going. So how I came to acquire this thing, I've probably had it about I'd say probably 10, 15 years. Got it off a mate of mine who actually at the time was living in some council flats, and him and his friend actually found it in the stairwell. So they dragged it up to their flat. My mate being an electronics geek, plugged it in and didn't do much apart from, he said, the valves lit up, and he said he got a bit of a crackle from the speaker. And I acquired it back then, and of course it's been shifted a few times, and yeah, now it's ended up on the bench waiting to be powered up for the first time. Although I did do some pre-maintenance on it and cleaned the layers of dust. It was literally caked with dust on the inside, and I just can't work on dusty TVs because it really offsets my hay fever. So I decided to get into it and actually clean it up first on the inside, and it didn't have a set of matching knobs, so I found these ones here in my knob box. The only original control is the fine tuning knob, and that is the only thing I could find which could fit as the tuning adjustment control. Yeah, I very carefully cleaned this plastic whatever you call it, the plastic thingamajig. So I very carefully cleaned that. Didn't really want to break it anymore. What would you call it? The plastic indicator panel, or the control panel, basically, I suppose you can call it. Yeah. So yeah, and these controls, they just turned. Both the brightness and volume control just turned. It was pretty horrible, actually. I had to literally take the whole control panel out, and I did that before I did that first, and I'll show you why in a second. But yeah, so it's got that sort of typical 60s sort of material, vinyl sort of stick on stuff. It actually looks quite period. There's the Lotus badge. I actually quite like that. And you've got sort of that sort of nice sort of goldy coppery beading around the picture tube. It's actually the cabinet is not veneer, it's Formica. So the cabinet's all Formica. So looks quite nice. And the picture tube has got a really thick bonding there. So it's really quite thick. Sort of you can hear it hasn't got that usual donk donk donk, so it's really thick bonding on the picture tube. And here introducing actually a couple of air bubbles too, which have actually obviously when it was applied. Oh, I actually need to clean that screen too, actually. But yeah, no. So I haven't tested the picture tube. I don't know what the picture tube is like, so we'll get to that in this video. But overall, it's actually in good condition, really. So the Formica's held up well, as you can see. I think those are ventilation holes in the sides, although you can get your fingers under there, but the gap's not very wide, so it's not really that ideal for lifting, but that's how I did lift it in here. Yeah, no, quite an unusual TV, actually. I don't think it came with legs. Mind you, I haven't actually looked underneath to see whether it's got actually provisions for legs, but maybe we can do that in this video as well. Right, so what I'll do, I will put the camera down and I will spin it around. Back in a sec. Now the part you've all been dying to see is, of course, inside the back and the chassis. So I'll just zoom in here a little bit closer. I believe that these were an actual kit set Philips TV, or based very closely on one. I think they're called an EDAC kit set TV here in New Zealand. So basically using Philips components all the way through. Okay, those are probably what the knobs look like originally, I'd say, going by. That's the vertical hold, and I believe that's contrast. That's probably what the original knobs on the front probably look like. I said I haven't seen another one of these in the wild, or even online or on Trade Me, so I don't know what the original knobs did look like. There we have the model number there. We have the label. Green and Hall, Wellington, Auckland, model 6513. And would you believe it, I do actually have the circuit on it. And we'll get to that in a moment. So having the circuit makes it really handy. It's a very, very, very a la Philips, very typical sort of Philips layout here. I think they actually tried to copy the S8. Having the two circuit boards and the E8 and the EHD section down on the other side, and the power filter caps, vertical output transformer, and a mains transformer. But the interesting thing is, even though it's got a mains transformer, it's using P series valves. So I'm going to have to look into that and see how they've done it on the circuit. And actually, to service this thing's actually not too bad at all. Everything's sort of quite easy to get at. Now this here, I think maybe just it's screwed in up there, and I think it just comes. This just comes off like that, and that just comes out. This off and away, and there's the I think it's the EN67804 Philips line output transformer. So it's PL500, PYD8, DYD7, fairly conventional line output stage. And the good thing is, with these, or with this, it uses the good quality mustard Philips caps, and Philips resistors. So I'm picking it probably shouldn't take too much to get this going, although I've said that before. I ended up going down a rabbit hole. And to basically, now I might as well pull the chassis out. There's the mini watt guaranteed television picture tube. It's probably got the actual. Oh, it's probably got the actual thing in there anyway. I did find the label actually, and it fell off. Where did I put that label? Here we are. It is a mini watt 19 CWP4. So I'm guessing 19 is probably a 19-inch, and that actually looks about right actually. Right, so just pull this down like this, and you can. I wonder what state those power supply caps are in. Yeah, normally the Philips ones, normally they bulge and crack and then we spew their guts out of the middle. But actually, these ones actually don't look too bad. Actually, might be all right. I can see down there. Yeah. Uses silicon diodes. The rectification is probably a voltage doubling circuit, I'd say. Looking at that. I wonder what that's like. I wonder if it's lead. What is it? 0.056 to 1,000 volts. That's probably what's coming off there. No, it wouldn't be boost voltage. It's just going straight to ground. I'm guessing that is probably. Hang on. Oh yeah, that's actually. That's audio output transformer there. That's why those wires run down to the speakers here. Audio output transformer there must be the mains fuse. Actually, to be honest, the actual print actually looks pretty good. I'd say the set is definitely seeing some use. Looking at all this here, I'd say there's probably a few little crappy joints on that board, but yeah, I won't start soldering anything until I actually physically get this going before I start really concentrating on doing any resoldering. Now, down there is the control panel, or the control panel frame, and it's not exactly easy to get at. So I actually physically took it out before I did anything. Because where's that long screwdriver gone? Because the brightness pot spun around, couldn't actually adjust it, and the volume control it sort of semi-fallen to bits. This is the old control here, and something in there that I think the little wee thing that strikes the contacts, the little wee there's something up with the little wee piece of metal that the little wee lever sits in. It just wouldn't turn on, wouldn't turn off. I mucked around with it and sort of tried to bend a few things, but I could not get the pot. I couldn't get it to switch off and on reliably, and this was all loose. So I ended up going and rummaging around in my spare parts, and actually found another one, which is virtually identical, and you can sort of just see it down in there. I suppose if I actually do it like this, you might be able to see. You can kind of see it down in there. So there it is, down there. Replacement switch all wired in and tightened up. And I also gave the tuner a service as well. I put a couple of brand new valves in it, and cleaned all the wafer contacts as well, and found 3 high resistors in there too. There were a couple of resistors in there. I think that came off the B plus rail. There was a 5.6K read about 10, and a 6.8K read about 15K. So those two are dropping resistors, so I replaced them. And there was a 220K read about 290, so I replaced that one as well. And here's the original PCF 801 and PCC 900. They could be okay, but I left my valve tester at work, and I can't go to work. I can't even drive anywhere, so I rummaged around all my boxes of newer stock valves and found a couple. So fingers crossed, I haven't mucked anything up. Haven't mucked anything up in the tuner, and it's going to work okay. Right, so yeah, it's not a bad TV really. It's quite nice to actually work on. Famous last words. Once we get it going, it might be a different story. I might be swearing and cursing at it and carrying on. All right. Okay, so come on, you swine, focus. Oh, this damn phone has been really trying my patience today. Really been trying my patience. So we'll now look at the circuit. Try and push this forward a bit to give it room on the bench. It's actually quite heavy. It's actually quite a heavy little TV. Okay, so we'll start and look at this here. This is like a general block diagram, all hand drawn, of course. And it's actually quite nicely laid out. Every stage has got its own page. So there's your mains in, voltage doubler, oh, that's interesting. Oh, I see how they've done it. Right, yes, you're right. I see how they've done it. I see how they've done the filament change. I've done it like that. So I'm guessing, actually, that's interesting, because this has got a power transformer in it, and this doesn't even show doesn't show a power transformer at all. So mind you, it could have been, you know, mid-production, post-production, pre-production. Changed their mind. I thought, well, okay, it's being series wide. It's probably going to have a live chassis and it might kill someone. So they probably decided to change the way they did it. I'm actually curious now as to what the secondary of that transformer is actually. I'm just curious to see where that does actually go to. Mains goes in. Mains goes in. Problem is I can't actually see on the back of that. There's definitely some wires coming off there. Oh no, it must derive its B plus from the transformer, because that's the wire coming from the secondary from the transformer, goes through the fuse, and then that wire buggers off down here to the rectifier. So yeah, basically it must just yep. Okay, so right, that's all fairly self-explanatory then. They've just put a transformer instead of just straight off the mains, which I suppose for safety reasons is a lot better as well. Right, so now we figured that one out. Go back to the circuit. So this is your printed IF board. That'll be the IF input from the tuner AGC. PCF 201, PCF 200. PFL 200, and PCF 200, PCF 201. So that'd be your IF, and that'd be your video, and this will be the sound up here. Yep. That's all sound. And the final audio output. That probably obviously feed the output transformer. Here's your contrast control, your line pulse to there, 300 volts, HT 190, yeah. That's where that comes out of there. Turn it the other way again, and this is this is a vertical and horizontal time-based oscillator. Boost voltage goes into there. We've got a PCL85 frame audio vibrator on output. Yep, frame output, that'll be to the frame output transformer. There's your VDR off the HT lines, earth. That's all fairly self-explanatory. The sync comes in here. It's all horizontal, sync separator. It's all fairly self-explanatory. Face, but a line oscillator. That's where we got the EF80, PCF80 as well. EF80. Oh yeah, PCF80 does the face split. Now, what I see, that's all fairly self-explanatory there. Yep. So I'm not so again, like I said, this is probably based on a kit set design. It could be copied directly from a Philips design. I don't really know. Unfortunately, the designers are probably long dead and buried, I'd say. Probably gone upstairs. Going the wrong way there. Go this way. Here we are. And this is the EHT section. Fairly generic. Line drive goes in there. Line output booster. Line output transformer. Rectifier. Here's your goes here to the yoke, the reference poles, HT line blanking, brightness control, boost, step boost. So yeah, actually really nicely laid out. Every section's laid out, and it's nice and clear. It's easy to read. There's not bloody signals and voltages going up here and down and all over the show like some bloody circuits are. And this is the picture tube components. So what pins have what wires or signals fed into them and so forth. Line blanking, boost. Yep, HT3. So there you go. Oh, actually, no, that's up here. Sorry, it's a small board up here. Oh, yeah, right, there we go. That board goes up to there, and that's probably all those components. That'll be all those components on this board. They're actually up here, so it's kind of like a tube-based board of some kind, I'm guessing. Yeah. Ooh, wonder what that's like. I've had some of these German, it looks like one of those, yuck, these German caps. I've had this crap out in some of those Grundig radios. They go short. Be looking at that probably suspiciously. These here will be okay though. These ones never crap out. They'll be pretty good. Right, we won't disturb that anymore. So the damn thing breaks off. I wonder what that bloody boost pot's like. What the controls probably boost. Interesting. That control was actually hard around to one side. Or was hard at one end. I wonder why that was. Might just leave it middle. Might just leave it where it was for now. Actually, there's probably a reason why it was like that. I might just give it sort of midway. Turn it about midway. See what happens. If the flyback is shorted or craps out, I have more of these than I care to imagine. I've got second-hand ones. I've got them in boxes and store in plastic storage containers. I've got heaps of these. So I've got enough bits to keep this set going forever, pretty much, as long as the picture tube is okay. This thing should be quite a good performer. And nothing on the back. I'm guessing, yeah, when it was made, I'm guessing in the 1960s. I have got some other service data on Lotus stuff, and yeah, sort of like pages and pages of other bits and pieces, and I'm pretty certain there were actually some dates on them. Actually, hang on, I'll go and get another one and have a look, see if we can actually roughly date these things, date when these sets were made, or roughly what time period they were made. And hang on a second, let's go and grab them. Right, here's another one I pulled out from my file. So you'll probably find this is probably very similar to that thing actually. This one uses 6-volt valves, uses E-series valves. In fact, that's what I would have expected to see actually. I would have expected to see that's got the transformer in it. Interesting the way they've interesting how they've done that with the P-series valves and the transformer. Obviously the main transformer is supplying the HT secondary HT supply, AC supply, and the interesting. Probably find this is actually. I find this is very similar circuit, if not the same. 94 sound amplifier. Yeah, it's slightly different. A few more valves in this actually. Oh yeah, a lot more valves in here. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So yeah, there's obviously this may have been an earlier set or a more deluxe model possibly. But no date at all actually there. No date at all on that one. I'll go get the other one and see what the other bit of circuit information says. Here we go. This one is a Lotus 6319, and looks essentially the same as what I was just looking at. To be honest, quite like the pink actually. The sort of pinky colour. It's quite cool. Definitely is a copy of some kind. yeah, no, that's pretty much just the same as the other one, just different coloured ink. No, I can't see anything there. I can't see any dates there, so I'm guessing early to mid 60s, I'd say, judging by the components in there and etc. Right, I'll just get out the bloody CRT tester and see what the tube's like. Stand by. Here we go. Found a date on this one. Drawn by P. Crane, 9th to the 10th, 1963. It's even written there as well. So that pretty much dates it. So, Mr. Crane, if you're still alive, good on you. Yeah. So these ones. So this circuit is dated. Oh, there we are. Property of EDAC reproductions are to close that the third parties will not be permitted without written consent. So yeah, EDAC/Lotus. Yep. Yep. Pretty much the same thing. Right. Now to test the tube. Right, have the good old leader CRT tester connected. Man, I tell you what, I should have taken a photo of the dust in this thing. It's literally, there were like stalagmites, dust stalagmites hanging off all the valves, and yeah, it was quite dusty. But yeah, no, I can't work on dusty sets. I really can't. So had to clean it. My OCD got the better of me. Right, so let's adjust the heater to, I'm guessing 6.3. Where it's been a while since I've used this thing actually. Hang on, what have we got here? Hang on, turn that down. Right, so 5 to 8. Yes, we have the filament lighting there. It's a good sign. All right, bring it up to 6.3 volts. Yeah, she put it on 6 volts actually for now. I'll put it on 6.3. Right. Glowing nicely there. Right. Leakage. We set it around 45, seems to be the grid one voltage. Right, do we have cut off? This is indication the tube's any good. Yes, we have got cut off there. That's a good sign. And it's climbing probably because this thing probably has not had any power on it for quite a while. So we'll just adjust it back to there, and we go read emissions. Yep, look at that. There certainly ain't nothing wrong with that tube, that's for sure. That is a good picture tube, which is promising. There we go back to there. Yeah, look at that, it's climbed right up now, so we just go back to there, there. Yeah, look at that. Great, that's awesome. The tube's good, so that's a good sign. Again, makes me wonder how much use this thing's actually had, because the boards aren't discoloured. They don't see many dry joints around the valve socket. So you never know. I mean, going by the amount of dust in it, definitely would have seen some use over the years. But I reckon this thing probably hasn't been going for probably, I don't know, probably 20, 30 years, probably at least. So. Well, that is a bloody good sign. So that's definitely promising. Right. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to apply some power via the variac and see what it does. Hopefully no magic smoke escapes, but no doubt we'll see back in a sec. Right. So we have wattmeter hooked up, variac on about 100 volts, multimeter hooked up with the crucial probe. The crucial probe to test for various points of HT if there's going to be any at all. Right, reach around and we'll flick the switch and see what happens. Yeah, initial current draw. Hang on, actually, I better, before I go any further, I better actually hook up a signal to this. Should I or shouldn't I? Yeah, why not? Just the hell of it. Back in a sec. Right. Signal hooked up. So what have we got here? B+ wires, and that's probably B+ there, I'd say. Let's move this a bit closer to actually here, it's easier. Yeah, that's different. That's B+ there. Filter caps aren't getting warm. There's probably an HT drop-in resistor of some kind. Yep, right, just give it a bit more. Okay. Is that about, what's that? About 190, 180 volts, something like that. Not much happening really. Yeah, now. No real signs of life anywhere. It all seems to be quite dead. Nope. Okay, give it some more. It was 180 watts. It's meant to be drawing from the mains. Oh. There's the vertical. There's the vertical oscillator started. Wow. Oh, geez. That's as loose as all buggery.